thing going in the bowl is almond butter. And before you click out of this video, if you are not an almond butter fan or you can't have almonds because of an allergy, I also have a tahini version, which I will get to later. But the base of this is going to be almond butter. And you want the kind of almond butter that only has almonds and salt as the ingredient, no extra sugar, no extra oil, because that's going to change the consistency and the flavor of the overall recipe. I like to give it a stir, and it's really helpful if the almond butter is at room temperature. And so I just give it a quick stir just to make sure everything is super runny and drippy, because that is the consistency we want here. And I'm going to measure out 3/4 of a cup of almond butter, and that's the first thing going into our bowl. I already know some of you are going to ask me if you can substitute peanut butter, and so I went ahead and I tried this exact recipe with peanut butter, and it actually didn't turn out the same. And I do feel like a lot of times you can use peanut butter and almond butter kind of interchangeably, but in this situation, it's a texture thing. The flavor was really good, but when I made the peanut butter, it was like totally different, kind of like crumbly, kind of dry consistency. So if you want to make the best brownies that you can make at home, I really recommend using almond butter or doing the tahini version, and that is in the description box below. The next thing going in the bowl is 1/2 cup of maple syrup. This is the pure, delicious runny maple syrup that is just super flavorful. It's going to add the perfect amount of sweetness without making these brownies too sugary and sweet. Next up, I'm going to use some good old-fashioned applesauce. I like to make sure that I'm using the unsweetened applesauce, and this is beneficial for a couple of different reasons. One, it's going to make it to where, again, we don't have to add a bunch of oil and butter to create a super luxurious vegan brownie, but this is also going to help hold on to moisture and work as a vegan egg replacement as well, because the pectin in applesauce works to kind of thicken and hold baked goods together. All right, next I'm going to grab a little sifter like this. You can use any sifter that you like, but this is really handy when you're working with cacao or cocoa powder, because it tends to get kind of clumpy in the bag or in the jar, and this is going to make sure that everything blends super nice and smoothly. Whenever I'm measuring out a dry ingredient, I like to go ahead and use a spoon to kind of fluff it up, and then I will spoon it into my measuring cup. And I'm going to be using 3/4 of a cup of this super rich and chocolatey cacao. Make it snow chocolate right into the bowl. If you don't have raw cacao, you could definitely do this with cocoa powder, regular cocoa powder, although the flavor is going to be a little bit different. And I tested this recipe with cacao, so I strongly recommend that you use cacao, because that's the one that I know tastes good in this recipe. The only one that you're not going to want to use is Dutch processed cocoa powder. I think Dutch processed cocoa powder is delicious, but that's not going to rise in this recipe. So you want to make sure that you use either regular cocoa powder or preferably raw cacao powder. And you can really see the difference between the cacao powder that's in the sieve and what is in the bowl. What's in the sieve is much thicker and more clumpy, and what's in the bowl is like super fine and light and airy, and that's really going to make a difference later on in our brownies. And then once I get almost all of the cacao into the bowl, you'll see that there's some little clumps, some little balls of the powder that don't fully go through the sieve. So what I do is I just take a spoon and I kind of press that down and work it through the sieve, and that's just going to make sure that every little bit gets into the bowl and I'm not wasting any cacao. All right, so all of my cacao is in the bowl, and now I'm going to go ahead and mix this all together. I haven't done any mixing up until this point. It's just kind of scoop and dump into the bowl. So I'm going to start by kind of mixing this slowly just to make sure that the cacao really incorporates with the wet ingredients. But then once it's kind of mostly combined, I'm really going to whip this for a full 30 seconds. I actually count for 30 seconds and whisk with all my might to make sure that this gets super smooth and glossy. And this part is really fun because you watch it go from something that kind of looks a little bit like pancake batter, like almost like chocolate pancake batter, into something that seriously looks like a river of glossy, smooth chocolate sauce, and it is so beautiful. It looks so decadent. It looks like those commercials when you like lift up the whisk and it just is like decadent chocolate pouring back into the bowl. But the reason you want to really whisk at this stage is because we don't have any flour in the bowl yet. And then when we add the flour, we're just going to barely mix it in because we don't want it to be tough. Once flour is hydrated and you start mixing, that's when you start to develop the natural proteins in the flour, or the gluten, and that creates kind of like a chew in a baked good. If you think of like pizza dough, for example, how you have that chew, That's what we don't want with a brownie. We want a really tender, fudgy, smooth brownie. So to achieve that, what we're gonna do is whisk, whisk, whisk for a full 30 seconds until we get this glossy chocolate river, and then we're just gonna fold in our remaining ingredients. And this already smells so good, you guys. Oh my gosh. I mean, wow. Okay, so this looks perfect, and now I'm gonna go ahead and add my flour. You really don't need a lot of flour in a brownie recipe. It's only 1/4 cup for the whole thing. And if you wanna make this gluten-free, I would use the 1-to-1 flour from Bob's Red Mill. I'll add a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'll use my 1/4 teaspoon. 1/4 teaspoon. And then I'm just gonna gently stir this together. You don't wanna overmix at this point. I'm just going to basically just stir this gently until all of the flour is combined and it's no longer visible, and then I'm gonna stop mixing. The final ingredient here is 1/4 cup of vegan chocolate chips. And as always in all of my baking videos, I really like to use these Enjoy Life semi-sweet mini chocolate chips. I think these are the superior chocolate chip to use in vegan baking. I think it's one of the most versatile chocolate chips that you can use because I use it in my chocolate chip pancakes. I use it in my pumpkin chocolate chip muffins. I also use it melted down to make Halloween candies like my peanut butter and jelly chocolate peanut butter cups or my chocolate cherry bombs, for example. I just think that it's a really, really good product, and what's gonna happen here is it's gonna melt into the brownie batter, and there's gonna be these little pockets of like melty chocolatey goodness that is seriously so good. So to bake these brownies, I'm gonna be using a 8x8 baking pan just like this. This is a square 8x8 pan, and I honestly call this a brownie pan because I really only use it for brownies. You can prepare your baking sheet however you like. You can lightly spray it with some nonstick spray if you like. What I like to do is just use a little bit of coconut oil, and I'll spread it all around into the corners. And then I have these really cool, let me show you. I have these pre-cut baking sheets. These are actually non-toxic and they're made from recycled material. It's already pre-cut, so it's the perfect size for an 8x8 pan. And I'll just set this on top and it will stick nicely. Ta-da! Whenever I would bake with my grandma, she would insist that I use a rubber spatula like this to like scrape every single bit out of the bowl. Nothing can be left behind. My grandma absolutely hated any kind of food waste, and she definitely taught me that at a young age to not waste anything. Anyway, every time I use it, it reminds me of being a kid and cooking and baking with my grandma, and I always hear her in my head telling me not to waste anything, so I try to get every single last bit out of the bowl and into the pan. I get as much out of the bowl as I can. I leave as much on the spatula as I can because that's for me to enjoy later on, not on camera. Okay, so to create the swirl, I just take my almond butter and I mix it really, really well so that it's super runny and drippy. And then I'm just going to dollop it on top, and I do 9 dots that are about 1 to 2 teaspoons in size. And then I'll just take a butter knife or a chopstick and swirl it. And I kind of do a line through the dots, and then I'll kind of swirl up. And this is the part that's super fun. You can be creative and do any kind of swirly design that you like. There's really no right way to do this, but I do recommend kind of under swirling rather than over swirling. If you do too much, it kind of just like fades into the batter, and then when it bakes, you really won't see the swirl. So I recommend doing your thing, make it look pretty, but then stop yourself. If you want it to be even more visible and a little bit thicker, you can actually mix your almond butter with a little bit of powdered sugar. That will give it a little bit more body and structure, and it'll just kind of sit on top of the brownies even more. That is, of course, going to make the topping a little bit sweet, so it'll change the flavor a little bit, but you can do that if you like as well. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this in the oven, and I will see you in a sec. All right, so while that's in the oven, I thought I would tell you about the nut-free tahini version of this brownie recipe. They're a little bit different, but it's kind of the same process. It all goes into one bowl. It's super, super easy to make. The first thing is that instead of almond butter, we're using tahini. But just like the almond butter, I like to make sure that it only has 2 ingredients, just sesame seeds and salt. And I like to make sure that it is room temperature, and I mix it really, really well so that it is light and runny, and silky and smooth. But you only need 1/2 cup for the tahini version of the recipe, just because the consistency of tahini is a little bit different than almond butter. I also add a little bit of brown sugar to that recipe, and that's because tahini can be a little bit bitter on its own, and so can raw cacao powder. So to counter that bitterness and to create a really delicious chocolate brownie, I add a little bit of brown sugar. I'm gonna let these cool. The hardest part about any brownie recipe is letting them cool, because at this stage they're actually not done baking. Right now the inside is basically hot fudge. So if you were to cut into this while it's still hot, it would just kind of fall apart. So you want to go ahead and let this cool in the pan completely. Usually I grab a rack like this, and that way air can circulate under the bottom, and honestly it just makes it cool down faster, more evenly, and that way we can eat it. The sooner the better. I'm gonna slice it, and as you can see, it is so perfect and chocolatey and fudgy. That outside corner is just like perfectly done, but the inside is still really nice and fudgy, and that almond butter swirl kind of makes sure that you get a little bit of almond butter in each bite. I can't even talk, my whole mouth is just chocolate. If you're a chocolate lover, you have to make these almond swirl brownies. They are so good. That little bit of salt is just the perfect amount to kind of complement the chocolate and make it taste really rich and buttery, even though there's no butter in this recipe. I love this recipe. The tahini version, let me show you what this one looks like. This one is ever so slightly sweeter than the almond butter swirl recipe, but again, what really jumps out at you, the main flavor is just rich, dark chocolate. Both of them are super fudgy. That's really the only word I can think to describe it. It's like not a cakey, fluffy cake brownie. It is a rich, gooey, fudgy chocolate brownie. I really like to underbake my brownies, so the center is always very, very gooey when I make brownies, but I love that. And I really like to keep the leftovers, if there are leftovers, I like to keep the leftovers in the refrigerator, so it kind of sets up even more, and that way you get like a fudge, like a brownie, and then in the center it's like brownie fudge. It's the best thing ever. And if you have leftover brownies that you don't think you're gonna get to and you don't want them to go bad, you can actually break them up into small pieces and keep them in the freezer, and then you can mix them in with ice cream, do your own like Cold Stone at home and make your own vegan brownie ice cream. That's awesome. So there's no need to ever waste a good brownie, but I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up because that really helps out my channel. If you are not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you never miss a video, and I will see you in a video very soon. I would wave goodbye, but I literally have chocolate all over my hands and I'm gonna go eat these, so there's no point in washing them.